What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks,
You're
Greg.
looking good. The beard's
Greg,
looking
you
good.
survived VidCon.
I did survive VidCon,
Barely.
and by the time
Narrowly.
this posts, hopefully RTX.
Oh, RTX is going to be so good. I can
So
feel it.
good. Austin,
So good.
we're going to eat a lot of food.
We're going to eat a ton of food. All barbecue, all
Yeah.
lean protein, I'm hoping.
No, I'm gonna go to that
Yeah.
Gordo's. Over here, the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Go Islanders.
Go Islanders indeed. And our special guest from Giant Bomb, Jeff Gerstmann. How you doing?
How's it going?
Jeff
Hello.
Gerstmann.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Hey, there we go.
We got to celebrate
I
what we
said I
have.
wouldn't come if you guys didn't clap.
We almost blew it.
yeah.
We
Fuck
almost
outta
blew it
here.
right up.
Okay, all right. Now
you're just
yeah.
fine.
All right, good.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here.
Tim Gettys had the audacity to have a birthday and go to Austin to celebrate it with his girlfriend and wait for RTX to start.
Gross.
Jerk.
Is RTX amazing? I've never been. Is
We
RTX
never have
amazing?
either.
Okay,
Well, they're
all right.
supposed to after RTX. No, it doesn't.
Well,
Does it?
Of course, everybody, if you...
Yeah, it was fantastic. You guys
It
had a
was
great
so
time.
good. Bernie's awesome.
The reason we don't know if it's up after RTX is the fact that the Game Over Greggy show posts every Friday as an MP3 on GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com for $1. If you don't think we're worth that dollar, you can pick us up on YouTube Monday through Friday. Every topic's broken out one by one. YouTube.com/GameOverGreggy. We post them for free over there. So that's why we don't know. Currently, if you're listening to the MP3 on Friday, RTX is happening. You probably just missed the Game Over Greggy show panel we're doing there with Barbara
Oh, it's going to
Dunkelman.
be so good with Barbara.
They're live streaming it, and then we'll put up the video, of course, here if everything goes according to plan. You never know with that technical stuff.
Yeah, that's very fancy.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Especially,
No, I know.
especially with me running it. I just twist knobs
Doing
constantly.
video on the road is just like
Doing
at any
something.
moment, like
Crap
it
shoot.
might all just catch on fire. Just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. These
Yeah.
cameras all got stolen. Who knows?
It's funny, like, I hate the differences when you go place to place. Like, I've been to PAX where they're like, don't touch the board. We are union workers now. And
Yeah.
then at PAX East this year, they were like, oh yeah, go ahead, jack on the board. We don't care. I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah.
Jerks. No idea what's happening over there, Colin.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah. jack into
These
the board.
unions, right? You're a big union fan.
Oh, I'm a huge.
Colin, don't
Yeah.
jack the board.
I'm not gonna jack. I might. Never mind. I was gonna say, maybe I'll jack off on the board. But is that appropriate?
yeah, no,
I
that's
said it,
fine.
so it's.
I know. I like how you
can't put
stopped
it-
yourself.
okay.
with
No,
everything.
let's roll this back. And
Yeah,
check this
you
out,
can't-
guys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome.
I'm here to kind of train you guys for pure internet celebrity. Look, just roll it back. The jack off thing, not cool.
Yeah, no. A little creepy, a
It's
little
about-
perverted.
It's about time a real producer came in here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Can you please take over?
Smell it.
Every single time we say something inappropriate, Greg makes me bleep it.
No, see, I make him bleep when he mentions people's names he shouldn't mention.
Okay.
Such as whose dick he'd want to trade, and
Yeah.
he throws out a person that there's no reason he should say that person's name on the air. That's why we have to bleep Nick Scarpino
It's
a lot.
classic Scarpino.
Classic.
Classic.
That's what everyone
Scarpino.
says. It's classic Scarpino.
Another classic Scarpino moment. That SOB.
I'm staring at that milkshake now. I want one of those milkshakes.
Yeah, there's a Game Over Greggy show video going up about the perfect Portillo's order. If you're listening to MP3 on Friday, it'll be live on Saturday, and if you're listening after
Boom.
Saturday, it's live on
And
Saturday.
it's going to make you hungry. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm dying to go back to Portillo's.
It's the best.
Seeing
It's
just
the best
this,
thing in the
this
world.
like 20 seconds of video
Yeah.
that I saw over here right now, like ignited it in me all over again. I've only been there like 4 times because it's like I'm from
sacrilegious.
here,
Enough.
so
Yeah.
you know,
Enough.
it's
It's
always
only
like
enough.
I can.
But
I
you're
can-
down in LA enough. You gotta get to that Buena Park.
I am, yeah. The last time I went, I ended up really screwing myself over because I was driving back to San Francisco from
Yeah.
LA, and then in the time it took me to drive back down there and back to LA where I was to begin with, I-5 had caught on fire.
Oh,
so
sure.
It took
Yeah,
me
yeah.
it took me a day and a half to get home.
You should have
at
packed a
that
second
point.
Portillo's lunch. Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
And so I was in a Motel 6 like late that night, just with the one Portillo, just the sandwich going, there's a microwave in this room, this is perfect, and just like eating it and just like watching baseball on like a 4x3 TV and just going like, this sandwich loves me. And God, I want to go back.
You gotta. Every year after E3, I take a pilgrimage down there. You should come.
Yeah.
That's big time.
Man.
Yeah.
Big time. Colin.
Yes.
Jeff, of course, is a guest here today.
Yes.
But we have another guest with us.
Yes.
Explain to me this fancy bottle of bourbon.
So we have here. Oh dear, the pop filter. Henry McKenna. 10-year bourbon. Now, people remember, maybe it was 15, 20 episodes ago, we had David Ballard on from Naughty Dog, our friend at Naughty Dog. And our friend Eric Castro, another friend. We have more than one friend.
We have so many friends. In
and
the show.
Eric Castro,
Choose one, guys. Come on.
Oh.
it's really hard. You only
I'll
have
go
a few
Eric
good
Castro.
friends. in
Tom
the
Hanks.
world.
Aim high.
So Eric Castro owns Polite Provisions, which is a fantastic cocktail bar in San Diego, and everyone that watches this show know that Greg and I love our old fashions. So he's a good friend of ours, and so he sent us 5 bottles. If people remember correctly, they were little vials. They were little Castlevania vials. And we sampled all 5 bourbons, which were all private barrels, and then we picked the barrel that he would use for his house bourbon.
Right.
And he sent us 9 bottles of the bourbon.
Whew, that's an expensive thing of bourbon.
So
there.
first of all, Eric Castro's the man. We really appreciate that. So what
Thanks,
it says,
Eric
we picked out.
Wow.
Please report. We picked out barrel number 1225 from the year 2003.
Mm-hmm.
This was barreled on 10/6/03, October 6, 2003, when I was at Northeastern University still. So
the world was a different place back then.
Very different place. And we had a little bit last night. I was on the comedy button last night with Altano and Scott Bromley and those guys. I came home. We had a little bit of this.
Yeah.
We were playing Valiant Hearts.
It was good.
So we're gonna sample it now again and pretend that we
we're
never had it
drinking
before.
Oh, okay.
And it just smells. I mean, this is some. Usually we drink Knob Creek, we drink Woodford.
Right.
Pretty Eagle Rare, good stuff. But this is better than all of that.
Right. Because we made it.
Exactly. We made.
If it
this
wasn't for us, McKenna, this wouldn't even be in Polite Provisions.
1, 2,
Another
5,
one. Yeah, come on.
So we'll get those poured.
Everybody go to San Diego. Of course, I'll be at Comic-Con. I'll be hosting.
Go to San Diego.
I'll be hosting a meet and greet at Polite Provisions, San Diego Comic-Con.
Sounds lovely.
Probably
Can I
nothing.
come?
Yeah. Probably nothing will be free. So bring money.
No, but
Cash.
Yeah.
Lots of cash.
and come with that love of good cocktails.
Of handcrafted cocktails.
It takes a few minutes to make them. You know, you got. But it's so But when I went there with Cheryl when we were in San Diego,
That's his girlfriend.
It's my girlfriend.
Ooh.
They had a guy in there that was chipping the ice manually, which was like so cool.
That
Yeah.
seems
It's
that's,
so old
I'm
school.
sorry. Now I got to draw the line at that.
All
Like
right.
that seems like it's
Perfect.
going
I
to take
wanna
too
drink.
long.
Cheers.
You can't
Oh,
just
cheers.
make the ice.
Thanks for coming,
It's-
Jeff.
It's
Yeah,
soda.
Thank you, Eric.
What were you saying? Make your fucking
just,
point.
You can't just put ice in a glass. You got to chip it away at it with your cool vests and your bow tie and your suspenders.
It's a show.
You more than most people, I think, would be a man who understands fine ice.
I do enjoy my ice.
You need the finance when you're paying $10, $12, $14 for a cocktail. They put all the love and respect into that cocktail.
See,
If I could pay $8 for that cocktail and just get ice
get it
cubes,
fast.
You'd be all right with that.
that'd be all right with that.
Okay. Now here's the thing I was thinking about. You guys haven't been in the bar yet, so you can tell me when you go. It's like an old school kind of early 20th century inspired vibe there, like a soda fountain kind of almost. And they had some old paintings, some old portraits. Now I wonder,
The eyes move with.
kind of like the Tickly Monster back in the day.
The thick
And
ones.
I was wondering, would Eric adorn Polite
my
Provisions
God.
with this portrait?
If we
Okay,
right
well,
here.
it can't be that one.
we got to send him
Because
another
I'm
one.
married to this one,
Yeah.
but I'm sure
We can get
Panda
another-
would do another one of these for us if we wanted to,
Yeah.
if it was going to be hung someplace as magical.
That's
as
amazing. Eric
Polite
Castro, you
Provisions.
got to let us know if you'll hang
let-
that.
Bare minimum, if you're going to do a meetup down there, I mean, bring
Sure,
this one with
sure,
you
that's a
and
good
hope-
call.
hope it doesn't
Carry-on.
get destroyed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's crazy is I never really realized that at this angle, Colin is looking right at me. So as you're looking at me, you're also looking at
My
me.
favorite part is like last week I was like, hey,
It's
Nick,
trippy,
this
it's
is
trippy,
really
yeah.
crooked. And you said, it looks good on camera. And then I watched the show and it did.
Oh no, yeah. If you look at it right now, it looks like it's
It's way crooked.
yeah.
But it looks,
like
fine
I hung it.
on that thing.
Yeah.
But that's weird.
I know.
Oh, man, angles.
Angles.
The camera adds 10 pounds and 2 inches that way.
Which way was that?
That way.
Yeah,
Angle
okay,
left
that
a
sounds
little
about
bit.
right.
Yeah. Normal. Ladies and gentlemen, the Game Over Greggy show is simple every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather around this table. He's bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. You hopefully like it, share it. You buy the podcast. We already went through that part of it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Hi.
you're the guest.
Hello.
First off, everybody should know you, right? You're like Mr. Video Games Journalism.
I guess so. Yeah, something like that. Sure.
In a nutshell, who are you if they don't know you?
Let's see. I mean, I've been covering video games for about like 20 years now, which is kind of a long time, and currently doing it at giantbomb.com. And
Everybody
follow
go.
me on Twitter or go to jeffgerstmann.net, where I'm answering all kinds of questions and doing all kinds of dumb shit.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What dumb shit did you bring today as your topic?
Well, look, guys, I'm at this conundrum. Like, the quality of my life is questionable at this point because I watch wrestling and I hate wrestling and I can't stop watching wrestling
So why do you watch it? Why do you keep watching wrestling?
Because you can't stop.
because I can't stop
You
watching wrestling.
you don't know how an addiction works?
Oh, I know
Nick
how addictions
Scarpino?
work. And let me tell you right now, I'll be first to tell you, I started watching Total Divas. Can't stop watching that
See,
show.
I can't get that deep into it. Look, man, you have a different strain of crazy. I
That's-
can't handle it.
It's, yeah,
You are too far gone. Look, you need some.
No one can
You
save
need
you.
help, man.
I actually, this is how bad it is. My wife comes, she's like, that show, why are you watching that show? I was like, it's kind of funny. She starts watching the show. I come back a week later from a trip. She's seen all of them. She now wants to go back on Xbox Live and buy the first season of the show.
Oh boy.
So we do it. and I watch it, and now I'm like, now I have to watch the second season of the show that you already watched. It's a great show.
That's
It's
debatable.
super good.
So my problem,
It goes Total Divas, Breaking Bad,
Jesus God.
Game of Thrones, and then whatever. I don't care. I'm
My
done.
two dads.
So tell us the issue at hand.
So I think my larger issue is I feel like that's something that wrestling was good for a little bit, and it's the writing has gotten worse lately, and it is what it is. But I think the larger issue there is I feel like there are a lot of things that appeal to. I hesitate to even call it like a geek demographic because I think it's a really reductive way to talk about it. But like the people that are passionate about things on the internet in an extreme way, comic books, science fiction movies, video games, wrestling, like all these things kind of fit together. Horror movies, whatever it ends up being. People, it's fine that people are passionate about it, but people are tearing things apart, and it feels like that just every conversation online that I'm in nowadays. It's just extreme one way or the other. It's either this is the best thing in the world or this is fucking trash garbage.
It's a user critic on Metacritic.
Basically,
it's either a 0 or a 10.
It's either like Ubisoft lied to us or it's the greatest thing ever made. And it's I just don't know if there's a way to change it. I mean, obviously, my problems with wrestling. It has its ups and downs. I hate it. But sometimes it's really great.
Now, have you been following? Catch me up here, because you guys all go way back, but we haven't really interacted that much.
He came on up at noon,
which is sad. I know, but he came in like a superstar and then left like 5 seconds later. He's like, I don't want to take any
like,
pictures.
Who the hell is
anyone.
this beard guy?
I'm not taking pictures. I'm not going to do anything. Have you been watching wrestling since you were a kid?
So I watched it a lot as a kid, kind of the Hulk Hogan era, right?
Yeah.
The era. And then
I say Attitude Era was the whatever.
So I fell out of it.
I
fell out of it and kind of.
They know what I'm talking about.
I fell out of it. Kind of came back when the NWO got big.
Yep.
And so because it became like the storyline got a little edgier, a little more reality based, to where you were like it blurred the lines.
Yeah.
Obviously, you knew it was still being written. It was still a show, but the storylines had become more than just like I'm gonna beat the bad guy.
Right.
And then you beat the bad guy, and now you have the championship belt.
But who is the bad guy?
The Undertaker, or anyone.
Giant
Gonzalez.
Undertaker was literally crucifying people.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
Era.
Like
Didn't The Rock start as a bad guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
he's gone back a few times.
Yeah, everyone kind of goes back and forth. It's just at some point they're like, well, this is boring. And the people aren't responding to it the way they used to, so we need to swing them over to the other side and surprise everybody, and then we can ride that out for 6 weeks.
Gotcha.
Except for John Cena, I guess. Well, he maybe started out a little bit of a bad guy, but he's just become just Superman. He is the new Hulk Hogan. He never loses.
You were saying earlier that he won something.
Yes, he won back the championship recently.
At
Money in the Bank. They gave him the title of the pay-per-view, and so now he has the belts again for like 15 times or whatever it is. And
is he still wearing the jorts?
Oh yeah,
it's cargo shorts sometimes.
He mixes in the jorts.
Yeah,
they're still there.
And it's that I'm torn on that too, because I've got a closet full of jean shorts, guys, and like I'm just one of these days they're gonna come back.
They come back out.
They're gonna come back.
How did you find out you were out of style with jorts?
I wore them. I was kind of like hanging on to them for a while and going like, no, fuck you guys, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah, it was for me. It was I was out. I wore them all through college.
Mm-hmm.
All through college wore these jorts.
I want to see the pictures of you and jorts.
You remember this is I always tell this
blue
story.
hair.
Yeah, this is the story of how I walked into my freshman year. Mind you, I'd gone to private Catholic school my entire life, so they finally let me off the leash.
Oh yeah,
no idea how to dress
snapped,
myself.
Yeah.
So I walked into my college dorm freshman year, first day, with from the feet to the head, right? Red Converse high tops.
Okay.
Tube socks up to the mid calf there.
Definitely.
Then jean shorts. Then a WCW t-shirt.
Naturally.
Hawaiian shirt over it.
Oh yeah.
Because there was a Simpsons episode, remember, with the gay guy, and Homer said only two kinds of guys wear Hawaiian shirts: big fat party animals or gay guys. And I was like, I want to be a big fat party animal.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not even making this up. Every day of freshman year, I wore a Hawaiian shirt.
I own 3 Hawaiian shirts.
So then you go up the rest of the way. I'd finally been able to get the nerd glasses I always wanted, and then I had blue hair, completely dyed royal blue hair.
Perfect.
And so I was ready to party for sure.
Yeah.
But so over the years, I grew out of a lot of that. Sophomore year, I didn't wear the Hawaiian shirts as much. I mixed in other wrestling shirts and video games and whatnot. And then I was out to dinner, and I'd already graduated college, or I was about to graduate. I'm sorry, it was my senior year. And I was out there, blah, blah, and it was my girlfriend at the time, her friends, whatever, yada, yada. And they're like, well, yeah, jean shorts are out of style, but Miller kind of makes them work. And I was like, excuse me? And they're like, no, jean shorts aren't. And I'm like, really?
Like, what happened?
And
What are you
they're like,
talking
well,
about?
who's the only other person you know who else wears jean shorts? And I had one friend. They're like, is he cool? And I was like, no.
Oh, wait a minute. What have
Fuck! And I the next day went out and
Immediately
bought.
rip them off and you're just naked with your balls out.
Well, it's, I just didn't know any better.
The phase I went through is that I got to a point where I didn't own any long pants at all. And it's, living in this part, San Francisco, it's mild.
Yeah.
We work inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know, right?
Can't tell about the tan.
Yeah. So basically, I didn't need to wear pants.
Yeah.
So I didn't, man.
Yeah.
So I ended up with, a lot of pairs of jean shorts and, some non-jean shorts, but mostly jean shorts. And this, this kind of carried on actually until like way past its prime. It was kind of like
You're trying to ride it out.
2006, 2007.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's pretty recent.
2008 maybe.
Wow, really
Yeah, somewhere in there.
She's like 2000, yesterday.
Yes, last month I
You're wearing
decided.
them right now.
So I had kind of a full-on snap where I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? I dress myself. I can do better than this.
Yeah.
So I kind of started shopping. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna so I went out and I just said like, I'm gonna spend a lot of money on one pair of jeans and see how it goes. And I went and I bought like Japanese raw denim and like all the fancy weird pants that you're not supposed to wash and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And bought them and liked them. And I was like, okay, no, wait, I can wear some pants. And now I'm proud to say,
You wear pants.
I own 3 pairs of jeans.
Nice.
Wow, congratulations.
See, this is
that's nice.
I had been wearing the relaxed fit jeans forever, and there's this girl at work who says that's not a good look on me. And her name's Alexa. She's been on the show. I don't know why I
think
said
her
a girl.
exact words. I know exactly. We had her guess. Her exact words were, "You look like you're holding a load in your pants."
Yeah, I got a saggy ass.
You got a
And
saggy-
so
you said old man. You got the Harrison
Nick
Ford
wanted to
butt
film
from Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Nick wanted to film some fancy conversations at IGN, so he took me out with a budget and bought me nice pants. And I was like, and now they're like all skinny and they're nice and tight on my ass.
Yeah.
Sometimes too tight
look
on my
good.
dick, I get told. But I like that look.
Well,
Yeah,
because you hike them up.
Where's
then-
it so high?
Again,
You
the
wear
point
you
is
wear 'em like my grandma used to wear her sweatpants when she went to the base.
because I don't want a saggy butt anymore, and like you have to understand, I'm still wearing them the way the pants are supposed to be worn. Otherwise, when I
Sound
bend
like my
down,
dad.
you get that ass crack. I'm fighting against the plumber's crack.
I'm trying to get that ass crack out there. I'm putting on shows.
I follow your ass crack on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. It's
So
it's
really
got
good.
quite the follow.
His ass quack. I just said that.
Yeah, so sometimes I have to wear a belt because it's like I went through a phase where I actually dropped a little bit of weight and then these pants started falling off my ass. Well, thank you. It's,
Quitter.
But
Everyone's
Team fat.
quitting. Everyone's
Yeah.
quitting.
No one's quitting Team Fat.
I'm
Buy
good.
Team
I
Fat
try to
t-shirt.
quit. No,
that's-
Districtlines.com/GameOverGreggy.
look at me, man. It's
What
it's
are
we're
you
talking
rocking?
orders of magnitude.
You rocking
It's
XL
just
or
like-
double XL?
I'm between right now.
Okay, yeah,
Depends on
that's a tough place to
it's
be.
a tough place to
Yeah.
be. So people ask you like, "What size shirt you wear?" I got one here for you. Like I don't know how to answer this.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna say XL because I feel bad if I say double XL, but that's usually the safe answer. And well,
My answer is always because I'm in between a medium and a large because of my pregnant gut.
Because you're your baby.
And my
boy.
question is always, is the shirt pre-shrunk?
oh,
That's how I always preface it. And usually the answer is, I have no idea. And
Right.
then I'm like, well,
Can't take that.
then
You
I
can't take that risk.
No, dude, because
What are
I
you
have
doing?
some,
You
I have
can't take
some
the pre-shrunk
shirts.
risk.
I have some shirts, like the Dr. Wiley shirt that Greg bought me in Japan.
Yeah.
Was a large that shrunk down perfectly to a medium. Now I bought a Resistance shirt that was a medium, not pre-shrunk, that looks like a fucking belly shirt. You know, so you have to be like very careful. Even my Resogun shirt,
Yeah.
very careful with that kind of stuff.
That's
Now-
the worst.
Like when you
get-
raise your
yeah.
hand to right here, I can see your entire navel.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
Little furry
Now,
patch.
before we move on to the rest of the wrestling story, I just want to say, as an aside,
this is the rest of the wrestling story, so don't worry about it.
okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say, as an aside, before I forget, before we get any further away, the fact Greg's my best friend. I've known Greg for a long time. The fact that Greg wore Hawaiian shirts every day when he was a freshman at Mizzou makes you want to drop kick him out of a fucking window.
Whatever,
And
you had
I'm
a mohawk.
Yeah, I did have a mohawk.
Mohawks are cool. Still cool.
I did have a
Hawaiian
mohawk.
shirts are cool. Still cool.
I used to.
I would expect someone with a mohawk to drop kick someone in a Hawaiian
yeah,
shirt.
oh, yeah.
I think
We would've
that
been best
checks out.
friends, I
That
think.
checks out.
Huh?
We would have been best friends.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Listening
no
to
doubt.
the-
We were two peas
listening
in
to
a
the
pod.
Vandals.
Oh yeah, the Vandals. I used to wear my dad's. When I was a freshman, I went to school in Boston. It was very cold. My dad had a pea coat, New York City. He's a New York City firefighter, so he had a pea coat with the FDNY logo. And I used to wear it like a fucking Civil War general walking around Boston. It was very slick and Ramon.
Ramon.
My good friend from college brought some pictures and
miss him.
showed them to me, and I'm wearing that coat in like every picture.
Yeah.
That's cool though. See, you were punk rock. Punk rock's always cool. Punk rock is a classic
I was
look.
punk something.
You're a punk. Greg
Going home and
was
writing strategy guides on game facts. In my spare time, I was very punk rock.
Now I haven't seen a picture of Greg
I'll get him
from
for you
college,
later.
but I imagine that you were just a giant nerd.
Yeah. Well, it was me with blue hair and a Hawaiian shirt.
Okay.
You ever
You're
think
not a
about
nerd
going back to
anymore.
the blue hair?
Yeah. I got this white spot, from where my hair grew back. This white spot came with it. I think about dying every
What if
so
you
often.
dyed it blue and then the white spot it didn't take on the white? And then
The
you
white
look
spot
like-
for some reason can't take
no,
color.
leave that and deliberately dye around the white spot.
like
You look like a
Own the
weird
white
Smurf.
spot.
It's very
Yeah, yeah.
distinctive.
Yeah.
Did you bleach your hair and then dye it?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, okay.
You got to bleach it white first.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's the worst.
I
I bleached my hair a handful of times over the years, and
Did you ever frost your tips? Because I desperately want to frost my tips.
no, but so I would only bleach my hair once and then let it
Oh,
grow
just,
out.
like, do
So
it, do it.
you would eventually get to that point where it basically
It
was
looked like
frosted tips.
That's my recollection of every single time I've seen Clements. Is he's always got like that half grown out frosted
Yeah, he's
tip
got
look.
crazy cool hair.
Because he just does crazy stuff to his hair all the time.
See, that's the thing about mine is I had blue hair, but I wasn't doing anything crazy with it. Like you can just picture me right now with blue hair, and that was it. I have one photo of me with the bleached blonde hair because KU came to town and they're blue, so I just bleached it blonde. And again, it's still the same comb over hair. It's just it's just
You had a
bleached.
comb over blonde mop.
Well, I mean, how do you? I don't like the term comb over
No, you
because I'm
got a
not
part.
combing
It's a
over
part.
anything.
It was
I got
just-
a part.
yeah, okay.
But a lot of people
That
give
is
a crap
exactly
for
what I had when I was bleaching my hair too.
Yeah.
It was just parted on the left and combed over to the side, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. Blondes have more fun.
Dude.
That's what
Yeah,
I
they
say.
definitely-
I don't even remember. What was the original question on
John
this
Cena
one?
wears jean shorts.
John Cena wears
That's
jean
what I read.
shorts.
That's
and
how this
People
whole
hate him.
tangent happened?
yeah, no, I
But it's just like for wrestling, right? I have this exact same story you had, right? Where I was into it big time as a kid.
Yeah.
You grow out of it because it's it's superheroes versus villains,
Because
and
Doink
then
the Clown retires and you don't want to watch it anymore.
true,
Right.
And then I remember when I got to high school, NWO WCW Revenge was the jam, right? And
Right.
that's when the WWF games started coming. That's when Attitude hit. That's when
right.
like
It was
Stone
like,
Cold
it was
Rock.
like, man, this is crazy. Like it
Yeah.
became okay to be into wrestling.
It
all
was a
of
brand new
sudden.
product again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the problem is like I stuck with that from high school into college, well into college, and
Yeah.
then at some point, you're just like.
Like, what am I
Dude,
doing?
This is the same thing over
Right.
and over again. I can't do it. And like I feel even when I jump back into it now, I still haven't. There hasn't been that giant shift. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't know where they pivot to next.
Yeah,
but they don't
exactly.
have the-
It's
yeah.
parts of it I think are super fascinating, and like from like a business perspective, like watching them try to craft that show and try to run their business. So it's like I'm almost looking at it like that way now, which is probably a sad way to watch any piece of entertainment programming, but that's just how it's shaken out.
How's the revenue flow going?
The revenue flow for them is interesting because I mean you can watch what they're pushing at any given moment, right? So it's like okay, there are Mountain Dew bottles sitting at the announce table, like American Idol or something would have Coke glasses
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like
Glasses,
that,
yeah,
or
the famed Coke
you can
glasses.
watch what they're pushing at any given moment and how desperately they push it. You can tell how they're doing. So right now, like they launched the WWE Network, which is their streaming service with all of this back catalog stuff, and you can look at it and go like, maybe it's not going so well because like you watch them push it harder and harder in increasingly simplified ways to like it started and they launched it and like okay, then all of a sudden it became it's like Netflix for wrestling. Like they had to explain it to people who just weren't getting it, and people were like, "You get it on a computer or a thing that you hook up to your TV. It's not on your cable. You need to." It's like they're practically at some point just gonna, and they've done this. Like they've done like, here's how you install an app on your iPad.
Yeah.
Go type in WWE. Like you can watch that kind of like desperation mixed with like their amazing quest for like finding mainstream acceptance.
Sure.
It's a lot like porn. Like I don't know if you've spoken with porn stars.
Oh, I have.
So I hung out with Ron Jeremy.
Oh,
No.
And
the name amongst names.
Yeah. I hung out with him backstage at a strip club in Sacramento. And
All right, slow this conversation. Slow this down.
Yeah, how did all this happen?
so a
And
friend
let's
of mine
back up a couple feet
A
here.
friend of mine met Ron Jeremy. So, okay, back in the day, video game trade shows the video game stuff used to happen at CES.
I know where we're going.
Before E3. So the adult convention was happening at the same time. The same badge got you into both. I was 16, very excited to see the pornography.
Yeah.
So we would go over there, and I would be like, I don't want to talk to any of these women.
We should also preface that when you and I were 16, there was not a huge proliferation of porn everywhere.
Exactly.
You looked.
This was 1992.
Yeah.
There was no
So-
Instagram.
There was barely VHS tapes at this
Exactly.
point
Yeah.
of pornographic material floating
There-
around your.
like DVD pornography was just like a faraway dream.
Yeah.
So anyway, a friend of mine started doing Ron Jeremy's official website, because he's a busy
subscriber.
man. He needs a website. Yeah. So my friend started doing it, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go hang out with Ron because I need to update the website. We need to go talk to him about stuff or something. I'm like, okay. Didn't realize it was a strip club, but Ron Jeremy was there telling jokes. He went on tour doing stand-up.
Yeah, he did. He's got to tell people what's up.
Right.
Usually him.
That's actually, I mean, that is like 90% of his material right there. You have nailed his act. You were perfect. So he was doing that. He had his rap single out, Freak of the Week, with DJ Polo, who did some work with Cool G Rap back in the... Anyway.
Did you make up all those names just now?
No. Cool G Rap and DJ Polo. That's Road to the Riches.
Colin,
Jeff is a
ruling on this.
He's a rap aficionado.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah.
That was my first introduction to Mr. Gerstmann.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I ever saw you in the flesh. You
Where do you come down?
Was I
you were
rapping?
rap battling on that Def Jam Rap Star at some video game event we were at.
They had me up on stage for that. I rapped in front of the head of Def Jam. It was super weird. He did not sign me to a deal. I asked. I said, like, I could rap like
dropped
this
the
for
mic
you.
in his
Yeah,
face.
exactly. So at this point, we are hanging out backstage at a strip club with Ron Jeremy. It's me, the guy who's running a site, and the guy who's currently my roommate, who is a nutcase. They're all anyway. So me and my friend, we're kind of sitting back there, like not really engaged in this conversation. We're backstage at a strip club, going like, "This is ridiculous. Why are we here? Like, there's someone we're gonna get found out. Someone's gonna ask us to leave." And we're listening to Ron, and so. Anyway, my point about the wrestling kind of desperation is all he wanted to talk about was, oh, I was in the South Park Guys movie, Orgasmo. Oh, I was in this music video. Oh, I'm going to be on this TV show. Like, the porn stuff was like nothing. Like, it was the mainstream, anything he could do that would be like wider and maybe like get him out of that. So it was like this kind of like sad thing to watch, because like you just like you could tell he was trying to get out.
Sure.
Or at least get bigger. Not that you need to get them.
I was gonna say he's stretching, he's getting bigger.
There you go.
What is this new thing
That's
we're
it.
doing?
Yeah,
This is a new thing. I saw it in a movie.
No, you didn't.
It's very
I did.
cool.
It's just a little pound.
Yeah. Now let's race.
It was a Fast and Furious. It was something. I can't remember. It was like.
Of course, it's Fast and Furious. What you base your life
So
on.
cool. Oh my
Yeah.
god! Of course I do.
So he's kind of telling his stories, and like actually, so this ended up getting like kind of verified for me later when they put out a documentary on him. But he would kind of doze off and kind of pick up mid sentence. Turns out he has low grade narcolepsy, which is something we kind of suspected. They're talking to him, but then the documentary kind of confirmed that.
Yeah.
So like this whole story is going on, and it's like super weird because there are nude women getting ready to get out. They're putting on what little they're putting on to go take off on stage, as we're backstage at a strip club. So I'm trying not to look over at that. But meanwhile, these girls that are there working are kind of coming over and trying to figure out what's going on. They are very interested in Ron because, on some level, Ron is a man who can get them out of Sacramento, which I wanted to be out of Sacramento at that time. I would have done anything Ron Jeremy said to get the fuck out of Sacramento. So they kind of come over and try to size up the situation. They see us talking to him. They look at us and go like, well, I imagine they're thinking like, well, these guys are not in the business. They're not making movies.
Yeah.
They must be the producers. They must be the one making. They must be the money men, or something like that. So, like one by one, like they kind of come back and like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, how's it going?" And this was a pretty long time ago. So this will make more sense with that in mind. We're just kind of making small talk, and it's like, "So, how's business? How's it going?" And
how the dollars flowing?
Hey,
tonight,
how's things going? And this one girl's like, "Well, I'm doing really well lately because, points at her face like this, and it goes, no doubt. And we're both sitting there like for a couple seconds, and we both instantly come to the realization like, oh, she thinks that she looks like Gwen Stefani, who was very big at the time.
How far off was she from that assessment?
Not even close. So both of us just go, oh, of course, yes. I mean, look at you.
Spider webs.
You're raking it in. Yeah, just a girl. Of course, this is huge. This is amazing. Yeah, you're doing really well. Great.
They all think it's you.
I had to get out of there so bad. That was we eventually kind of got out of there, sat in the strip club, watched Ron's stand-up act, which really bummed me out. In a ton of ways.
That sounds really depressing.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
This story was a lot more depressing than I thought it was going to be when I asked you to tell it. That's to our audience. I think you are our audience. An apology.
That's the real lesson about the porn industry, I think. Is that
it's super depressing.
Way more depressing than it seems.
I've always imagined.
And yeah, that was a dark time. So wrestling reminds me a lot of my time with Ron Jeremy.
Because they're still grasping at those straws.
Yeah, because there's that thing of like, they'll come back in from commercial break, and this stuff I think I've said on our podcast a little bit, but they'll come back in from commercial break and say things like, did you know that Raw was the #1 most watched program in the world last week? It's like, no one watching cares. That's just them going, like, trying to convince people, like, no, you're doing the cool thing. Everyone's watching Raw. You're real. Like, did you know that we've got Jon Stewart in the audience of this pay-per-view? Like, no one cares.
They've been doing that forever, and I mean, like, you remember when they did like the one where they used to do the it was Goldust TV in the end or whatever, the GTV, remember? And they had like the cast of mystery men back there, and it was just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Garofalo?
Yeah. Ben Stiller, they were all back there.
Huge wrestling fans, I'm sure.
Big time.
Oh, yeah, no
Janine
doubt.
Garofalo especially.
But yeah, I mean, that's wrestling story forever. And I think right now, the big thing is like you wait for that next innovation. The fact to me, which is weird, when I come back and they still have the Attitude logo. They still have the WWE scribble lines. And, what I mean? Like that, I'm ready.
So you got about 2 more months on that, I think.
Yeah,
and they're finally going to switch it out.
Because they got to. It feels like it's got to be time. Because it's still, for me personally, it feels juvenile, right? Because I associate that with high school. Yeah. I wore ties with that to school, with that on the tie. You know what I mean? Like,
of course, that's very cool.
Hey, when you went to Catholic school.
Did you tie
all right. Yeah, when you had to wear a tie, and that was the only thing that could.
Did you tie that around a Hawaiian shirt?
No, that's why I couldn't. That's why I didn't know how to dress myself.
Oh my God. This makes so much sense.
But I hear what you're. I think one of the things that bonds wrestling fans together is bitching about wrestling, though, right?
Totally, and that's the thing that I think applies to whether it's like video games or just like comic books and movies and all that other stuff. Like, there's just a contingent of people that seem to live to complain about.
Yeah,
but isn't that like all sports in general?
I guess so.
Too?
I guess so. It's like any passion. Maybe it is just at some point. It's any passion exists solely for people to get together around that thing they love
and bitch about.
It goes back to what we always talk about with comments on articles and videos, right? Like, there's always these negative comments on something because that's what motivates people to say something that they don't like it, right?
Right, yeah. No,
when you just
you don't get a lot of people. We get a fair amount of that, but it can be mixed sometimes.
Sure,
but by and large,
it all depends on the community you build. Beyond Up at Noon, this show, these people know that we'll be there talking to them. But when they feel like it's just them talking, I feel like that's when it's quicker to be like, oh man, this sucked. I hate this.
Also, don't you guys get the feeling though that a lot of people prefer to think in sort of binary terms? It's either great or horrible. Like you started this whole thing off by saying like, people are extreme right now. Everything's either fantastic or not. But like, with everything being so fast and as fast as it is, especially on the internet,
right?
Isn't it just easier to like make that snap decision about something?
It's one of the things I think
I hate or love soccer.
Right.
Like Greg loves soccer.
Of course.
Like,
I mean, who doesn't?
Bummed out right now. Super bummed out right now. The USA lost
today. I was on cloud
today
fucking 9 when they lost today.
Finally, these people will shut the fuck up.
I'm like, it'll be back to my Twitter feed will just be Gary Whitta and Colin Campbell and Darren Brazil talking about soccer, which I can live with.
Everyone else, you're just like, all right.
I'm at a bar and this soccer's better than I thought it was. Man, go USA.
I'm gonna give this soccer a chance from now on.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Help Spider-Man.
That's Spider-Man. You know my New York impression. Yeah, go Spider-Man. I'll swing all these cranes over the street for you. We're all working at 9 o'clock on this one. Come on, guys. It's New York
radio. It's connected to all the crane operators in New York. This is the best thing on the planet.
I think one of the side effects. I mean, people have obviously always been pretty binary on that stuff, but stuff like Twitter and comment fields and stuff just makes it so much easier. I mean, Twitter. I mean, the limitations there don't allow for nuance most of the time, so it's just like fuck this, or this is great, fuck everyone else. And I don't know. I feel like that has to be the thing that is gonna keep people away from a lot of those services and is going to kind of make them stagnant over time if they aren't already. Like I feel like I'm already like slightly tired of Twitter.
How dare you?
Yeah, it's all about moderation, right?
Yeah,
with that kind of stuff.
See, I'm relatively new to Twitter. Follow Nick at Nick_Scarpino.
It's on the screen the entire time. I guess you have to say it for the MP3 people.
I'm new to it. I'm still addicted to it. Yeah. I'll be 100%. But you guys have been on it forever. You guys have like hundreds of thousands of followers. You're like the Ron Jeremy of Twitter. Right now.
Basically, falling asleep mid-conversation, waking up and going like, let me tell you about something that happened to me 20 years ago.
But, I don't know. I still like it. I like that at least on Twitter you do have to think a little bit if you want to say something halfway deep. You know?
Yeah, like it
You
sharpens
do have
up
to put a little bit
that.
of thought in it,
Like your kind of one-liner, like muscle gets a little sharper.
Or you do the parentheses 1-15. You're like, oh, okay, here we go.
So that's why I ended up signing up for a Tumblr account at some point.
Oh yeah.
Because they have a means for people to ask me questions. Then also, if I have something more to say, it's
sure.
Like, and it's a little bit smaller. You know, it's like I don't have as many followers there, so it's like it's a little tighter knit.
Yeah,
and you can kind of just have some conversations.
We've talked about internet hate a lot, and I think this flows into it in a way. But we are, I think, way quick. I think there's so much vying for attention right now too. Is the other thing, right? We have to talk about this with especially Netflix, right, Nick? Where we start something, and if it doesn't grab us in the first 5 minutes, right? It's like, well, fuck this movie, I'm out.
Whereas attention spans and
the
number of choices that people have, like, why would you settle for mediocre entertainment? Yet, I can't fucking stop watching wrestling.
See, I fell back in the wrestling hole kind of when they did the network.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like,
I feel
like that's awesome because then you can go back.
Network?
WWE Network.
It's every pay-per-view they've ever run over the 30 years. So it's like you can go back and watch all that old stuff and all the stuff you missed in between. They have a lot of documentaries that are like
the documentaries
super interesting.
This is what happened to me is I got the network. I'm like, whatever, it's a trial. And of course I forgot to cancel. So now I'm signed up for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it here and there. We watched WrestleMania and stuff. But then Christine, my girlfriend, watched WrestleMania for a little bit. She's like, oh, this is weird. But then like it was like you, right? Like you're like, this sucks, but I can't stop watching. We watched
WrestleMania. I haven't watched WrestleMania since I don't know, it was like 10.
Sure.
And I don't know who any of these guys are because I like the campy old wrestling with like, $1 Million Man and
it's kind of getting back to some of those characters.
I feel like it's all just dudes right now. You know what I mean? Like, and then when they had the Royal Rumble kind of thing, whatever, like where everyone's fighting, that was like where all the throwaway G.I. Joe bad guy characters were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch this for 10 minutes. And then I sat there for like 4 hours. I can't stop watching.
The dark thing about that stuff is, as someone who used to occasionally buy a pay-per-view before they launched the network, like now my tolerance is just like it's super high because those shows were $60 a piece.
Yep.
For 3 hours.
So you're getting like this great deal.
And now it's $10 a month. So like when a pay-per-view sucks, I'm like, whatever. It was like free.
Yeah.
Like I paid like $0 for it. Like whatever.
Care?
I just sat there for 3 hours and ate frozen yogurt and.
Portilla, come here away from the wires that control the camera and podcast.
Just shoot through the wires. Yeah, so it's like the dark thing is like now my bar is way lower for.
But that's all. I mean, like Greg was saying, that's all of us, right? Like the other day, I started watching Voyager, and first of all, I don't know if it's as good as Deep Space Nine. I haven't started watching that yet, but you guys tell me on Twitter. And I ended up skipping whole seasons of it because I was like, it's not very good. I just want to see how the season ends. Oh wait, I can. Skip to the season end, watch the season from, like beginning of the next one.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I mean, I've gone through that and.
You have no idea what the hell's going on, but you watched it.
I have no idea what's going on, but they're almost back to Earth.
Get into that weird habit that people get into where they just watch the first episodes and last episodes of something.
Oh, I'm about there.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go back and watch The Next Generation, just the last like 3 episodes.
Sure, yeah.
Just because I can't remember how that series ends. And Netflix is in that weird place where it doesn't have a large value to most people.
Yeah, I canceled mine.
Did you?
Wow. Yeah.
Really?
I was in LA. I was in a hotel room, and I had a desperate need to watch Tokyo Drift. It was not on Netflix. I said, "Fuck you, Netflix." It's right there.
First of all, let me commend you on your choices in life because Tokyo Drift is wildly believed to have brought the series back because it's the third one.
Yeah, the second one was
abysmal.
Garbage.
Thank you. Yeah. We can all agree that's the worst Fast and Furious.
Yeah. I have a framed Tokyo Drift poster at home.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's an amazing
kindred
film.
with Nick.
Yeah, now that we're wading into this topic, I'm sure Tim just woke up in Austin screaming because he's not here to stop you.
Yeah, because Tim swears that the second movie is not the worst, but it is the worst.
What is then?
The worst.
What is then? Are you saying like 4 or 5 or something?
He thinks 4 is the worst. It's the one where they go through the
drug tunnels,
yeah.
right? But it's driving fast cars through drug tunnels.
Tim.
Drug tunnels.
Tim.
You suck, Tim.
You suck, Tim.
Drug tunnels.
You don't suck, Tim.
Here's the thing about wrestling.
Poor taste.
Christine watches a little bit of it, was interested enough. We had Jericho on up at noon. We started watching the documentaries, and then we tumbled down a hole.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through the documentaries, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, like the DX, oh yeah, the Madison, the Click and the Madison Square Garden and all this is great. And then she's like, this is just fascinating because like. What I love about wrestling, why I read the wrestling wrap up on IGN, why I still check Raja once in a while, right? Yeah. Is that I just want to know what's going on backstage more than anything,
totally,
right?
Yeah.
I always feel like
who are they signing? Who's injured? Like who got caught shoplifting?
Yeah, exactly. You can always like once you know wrestling, you can always be plucked out and put back in without any. Oh, who's Undertaker feuding with? Great. What happened?
You need 1 week to catch up and go like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm caught.
None of this is that complicated. Yeah, so it's like a nice like casual thing to watch because it sort of doesn't matter, and it never ends. So there's no season cliffhanger. There's no like I don't watch Game of Thrones. Who has time for that?
I do.
Wrestling's on.
See, and this is the thing that this is what you're talking about too. I think there's a problem with it is that since it never ends. There's no, you have to have a new storyline every week, every 2 days, really.
Right, yeah.
And so then you're always like, well, I'll show you what's going on. Because it's easy to pop back into. It's like video games, right? There's so many times I want to start a new game, but I'm like, I don't have enough time to invest in this right now.
Totally.
But I'll put back in Skyrim or whatever, DC Universe Online. I know that.
That's me with Wolfenstein. Like, I really want to play it, and it's like one of those things where it's like, I know I need a chunk of time, and instead I spent that same chunk of time playing like 8 different smaller games just so I didn't have to commit to playing Wolfenstein all the way through yet.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
so wrestling is just like a video game you started and
yeah, and it's just like I just play it. And,
do you think you'll ever quit?
I quit for years and
but
then kind of fell back in and fell out and fell back in and the real answer is at this point we are now doing a monthly wrestling podcast.
So nope.
So
thanks a lot, Dan.
Now I've got a business reason.
Yeah.
To business.
That's good.
Reason.
Now you get to write off the WWE Network.
Exactly.
But I will say this just generally about the hate and how hate is attracted to. Haters are attracted to everything, right? Like you can't kind of escape it, the binary nature of zeros or tens and loving or hating something. Greg, I like politics.
I know you do.
This is a very, very political thing, like loving and hating and evil and good. But I think back to the founders and the Constitution when they wrote it and when they were kind of all partying together after they won the Revolution in 1783 and the Articles of Confederation and then the Constitution. They didn't anticipate political parties and in fact tried to warn against them. And immediately they fractured and had political parties within like 1 year after the Constitution, like official, Federalists and Anti-Federalists. And the broadsheets back then were like horrific, like much worse than the newspapers and news. Like we always make fun of like MSNBC today, but like the newspapers back then were insane, like what they were saying about people and stuff like that. And so it's the hating is timeless. And it's everywhere. It's like, did you know Alexander Hamilton fucked his mom? Like, there was, it's like crazy ass, not literally that, but like crazy ass.
I'll vote for that guy.
Yeah. So,
like, he won family.
He won over a sect of the population.
Check.
It's been there, brother. All right.
he couldn't run for president. Wasn't born in the United States. But that was his big mistake. Was not being born in the United States. He was born in the Caribbean. But yeah, so I just feel like it's everywhere. Like it just touches everything. And it kind of sucks. And I've been trying to be better about what we talk about. I'm a huge Jets fan, so when football happens, I would always make fun of Mark Sanchez, especially after like 2009 and 2010. He started like really crumbling. And then I was like, I'd be like, he'd throw an interception. I'd be like, Mark Sanchez fucking sucks. On Twitter or whatever. Like what's with this guy? Bench him. And then I'm like, is that really necessary to say that? What? First of all, what if he like reads that? Does that hurt his feelings? Like, I don't like when people are mean to me on Twitter. And then and I had that same instinct today. Like, with the hockey free agency started, I'm a big Islanders fan, so I originally wrote my tweet out. I'm like, I'm gonna keep a close eye on Twitter today to see how badly Garth Snow, as the GM, fucks everything up. That's what I wrote. And then I'm like, that's mean. So then I just erased it and I said the New York Islanders because then it's at least a group of people.
that was after that last wrestling pay-per-view. All I did was get on Twitter and just type "wrestling!" !
It's like, almost as if someone were like, I can kind of understand a little bit, but I don't know what would drive a man to like rant for 15 minutes straight about how much he hates like a sport.
And so you're being like the Twitter kids and the comment kids. You're misrepresenting the argument. It wasn't that I hated the sport. It's the fair weather fans for the World Cup that popped up out of nowhere that I know.
I was one of them today.
The sport isn't worth.
You weren't tweeting your balls off about it.
I legitimately got in that game and I sat down and I came over to give you the score.
I mean, the sport isn't even worth hating. It's worth completely ignoring. It's just like, why pay any attention to it?
It's everywhere. You couldn't get away from it.
It's for brigands and hobos. It's just like.
Now it's over. You should have seen the comments were the fucking best on that video that we did for the World Cup.
I'm gonna go back and look.
It's so good, dude. Because my favorite thing, and I tweeted about this. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I thought it was funny. I got retweeted like hundreds of times. I was saying like, the guys are like fucking twat Americans with your arrogance, you fucking assholes, like all this kind of stuff, whatever. And I'm like, they're so full of themselves, they're fucking worthless, like all this kind of shit. And I'm like, You're on YouTube. It's an American website. Like we made that. And are you typing it from your
just love that
iPhone,
they-
and then are you going to go check Twitter and play Xbox, and then watch your American movies and your American TV shows and listen to your American music and all that? I was like, relax a little bit. Like, all right, we have like a bad reputation around you, but you're still replicating everything we do.
No, they're going to go play ZX Spectrum games.
It's like, relax. Why so personal?
It wasn't even against soccer. It wasn't even against soccer.
Well, because I think because Tim named it "Why the World Cup Completely Sucks," which is probably it's a good title to get people to click on.
We definitely got a lot of clicks on it.
Yeah, I mean,
that was clickbait. That was
you guys are nightmares for that sort of thing. But yeah, that's absolutely.
We have good.
We're gonna name this.
Too.
We're gonna name this one like
Why I Can't Quit Wrestling.
Halle Berry naked. This is gonna be that episode. Look at Halle Berry naked. Game over.
I'd put
in
that.
jorts.
To put a pin in it,
Halle Berry.
But call it Halle Berry naked, and then in parentheses, not swordfish. Because every time I click on that, it's always just that same thing.
That's a good thing.
wrestling's junk
Not
food
bad.
and it's comfort food.
Totally.
You
yeah.
go back to it, it's you know what you're getting into.
And and I don't have to pay close attention to it. It can just be on, and I can do something else with my time.
Thank God, Raw's 3 hours.
Yeah, right.